Um, Today's message is just about we have to be slow to judgment. And the reason is because usually when we look at people and judge how they treat us, it's based on what we know. It's based on how we were raised. And I'm thinking about making the first episode of the David Banner podcast. I think the topic is going to be common sense isn't as common as you think it is. We take so many powerful things for granted. Like I did some research, on the two friends that I grew up with. One of them is a crackhead on the corner, and the other one is all shot up. These were the two kids I grew up. I think we probably met each other when we were 6, and we all grew up on the street together. And in my research, I found the difference between me and them was basically I had a father in the house. And something so simple can change the path of your whole life. So a lot of times when we think about respect, when we think about certain common things, some people were not equipped with those tools. So we have to watch our expectancy. It's a real life story. There was somebody in media that I really, really wanted to beat the brakes off of this particular person. And I'm not like that now, like I used to be. For the most part, I'm a man of peace, and I'm searching for peace and balance. My belief is I believe being too happy is just as bad as being too sad. Buddha said that living in the future is anxiety, and living in the past is depression. So I sort of try to stay right in the middle. But this particular person, I really believe, at least at that time, I really believed that person had it was part of the reason why we were in the situation that we're in, from a media perspective at least. Now, I can't put that much pressure on him, but I know that he was fucking up real bad. So I like to go into counsel before I make really big decisions, and I really wanted to beat this motherfucker's ass. So I went into counsel, and I asked Minister Farrakhan. I asked him about this person, and he asked me a very simple question. He said, David Banner, have you ever talked to this person face to face about your qualms? I was like, no, we've been in the same room, we've interacted with each other, but I never had a chance to sit down and talk about the things that I think he's doing to our people. He said, so how do you know he knows better until you teach him? I was like, damn, shit. I didn't say shit, at the time, but that's what I was thinking in my head. And he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, he was like, brother, maybe it's your responsibility to teach him better. And I had never thought about that before. So in a lot of cases when we do business with people, or we extend certain courtesies to people, and I just thought about this. That's my criticism with some of the people that we date. A lot of times people say I love you just so they can hear it back from you. It's really not about them expressing how they feel about you. They really tell you that they love you so they can hear I love you back. And it makes me think about that because I may not have the capacity to make you feel like I may not have the capacity to make you feel like you make me feel. I may not be that good. Maybe you're better at that. And it's the same with relationships. Maybe people don't have the capacity to make you feel. Because a lot of times I know with me, I try to do people so right. I expect that back from other people, but that may be why we're special and they're not, at least in that capacity. So, like, I'm gonna tell you a rule with me when I'm dating somebody. I notice that a lot of people that I talk to about love and relationships, they always talk about 50-50. Ain't shit in this world 50-50. That's some bullshit. Sometimes your mate is pulling 90% and you pulling 10. Sometimes it's fucking 51-49, you know. But the thing is, as long as it's reciprocal in some type of way. I give you an example. I had a homeboy I used to hang out with back in the day. Everybody that was around me was like, man, why do you keep this motherfucker around? And it was really only because he made me smile. He made me laugh. I don't know why, but every time he was around, my spirit felt better. So whether it was him being on tour with us, whether him, you know what I'm saying, everybody else got to take the bus and he got to take the plane with me, I don't know this, he made me happy. The motherfucker just always, and that was reciprocal for me. I remember one time, some of y'all might get mad about this. I remember one time, a person asked me, how does it feel that someone wants to date me because I'm David Banner? I said, well, I might want to date her because she got a fat ass. I mean, as long as it's reciprocal, it don't matter. And don't let anybody else pick what makes you happy. That may be enough for you. So to bring it back in business, there was somebody that I had done something for. I blessed them with something amazing. And me and this person fell out because of the blessing that I gave them. And in my mind, I'm thinking, motherfucker, you wouldn't even have access to that if it wasn't for me. You selfish fuck. But then I learned something from Mr. Moody. When you give a present or you give something, it's not yours anymore. So how that person judges what you've given them is on them. It's theirs now. You know, I gave somebody a car one time. They turned around and sold the fucking car. I was pissed because I gave it to them so they could get back and forth to work, and they turned around and sold the car. And initially, I was really upset about that shit, but if it was truly a gift, they could do whatever the fuck they want to do with it. Even though I gave them the gift with certain intentions, once it's theirs, that's not my place anymore. It's the same way in business. It's the same way in relationships. You know, everybody doesn't have the heart that you have. Everybody wasn't raised the way that you were raised. And unless going into the situation, you lay out the contract. Now, everybody that know me, they know I talk about the contract all the time. In relationships, people get into fucking relationships and they know the fucking contract is laid out, but really I call it extortion. What they're really doing is just trying to butter you up or soften you up enough so they can get what they want. But I keep pointing to I don't give a fuck how I'm sorry that I make you feel a certain kind of way, or I'm husband material, whatever the situation may end up being, whatever excuse that people give, what did the contract say? So unless you go into the situation and tell somebody this is the contract and they agree on it, you don't know how somebody else is raised or how they perceive things. So we have to be clear. We got to put everything on the table in order to be fair to and for both parties. I hope it helps y'all.